Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Expat Conversations with your host, Michael Nolen. I want to say thank you for tuning in to this episode. Again, we're sponsored by the University of Guadalajara Institute of Innovation, Investigation, and Governance, which is underneath the jurisdiction and management of Dr. Marco Antonio Cortez Gradado. I'd like to thank him for giving us this opportunity to have this YouTube program. And also, before we go any further, I'd like to say thank you very much to the Monte Carlo Hotel here in Chapala, Mexico, state of Jalisco, for allowing us to use their beautiful facility here to have our program videoed and shown every week. I'm very fortunate this morning to have a young lady, Margarita van der Hoek.
That's right.
Here on my program. Did I get that close enough?
Very good, very good.
Well, thank you. And Margarita has lived here in the lakeside area for how many years?
Oh, I think I've lost count, but more or less 27 years, I would say.
Almost all your life.
Thank you for that compliment, but
No.
More than half of my life, I would say.
More than half,
yes.
and you're actually from Holland?
Yes.
I mean, actually, you're originally born in Holland?
Are Dutch. I was born in the Netherlands, but I've been living in many different countries, so traveled a lot when I was a child because of my father's job. And I lived in Latin America, in Spain, so that's where I learned Spanish from a very young age.
Well, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the program. Was your father in the petroleum business, the oil and gas industry?
No, he was actually with Philips.
Philips?
Yes.
The electronics?
Dutch, yes, exactly, the Dutch
I think
company.
I have some of your transistor radios.
Oh, okay.
I mean, do you remember transistor radios? I'm a lot older than you are, so it used to be these little transistor
Yes,
radios.
I
And
know
Philips
them.
was a very, very prominent name in that business. Well, thank you very much again for being on the show. You're involved in several different organizations here, and one of them is CREAM, which is a Ahihi music school for children.
That's right.
And you're also in IKI, am I pronouncing
Yes,
it?
we say Iki.
Iki.
Yes.
Well, I'll just kind of keep quiet for a minute, which is real hard for me to do, and let you kind of give a short bio of yourself. We mentioned you're from the Netherlands, but have lived here over 20 years. And what are the couple of organizations that you're involved with, what they do, and then kind of how the expat community can be involved in helping you in any way they can. So I'll just let you have the mic.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Michael, for inviting me and for giving me this opportunity to talk about several initiatives that we have here locally at Lakeside. You asked me, I think, how I arrived in Mexico too. So,
You mentioned you traveled around the world
yes,
quite a bit,
yes.
and
That's right, and I mentioned I lived in Colombia as a child, so from that time I became very, very passionate about Latin America, and when I was at university I had an opportunity to travel through Mexico and fell totally in love with this country. At that time I didn't know Guadalajara and Lakeside yet, but then later on I studied in Mexico for half a year. Worked with street children in Guadalajara, and I've always had a big interest for doing something in my community. So how can we have a positive impact? How can we share a little bit of what we have locally? So then I decided to, when I finished university, I decided to return to Mexico, married here with a Mexican man, had my children here in Guadalajara, but it was always a bit of a too big city for us, so we decided to move to Lakeside, and we had work opportunities here. So anyhow, that's sort of the short version of the story of how I got here. And as soon as I arrived at Lakeside, I started to look for opportunities how I could become involved locally. I did several things. I think I'll concentrate during this chat with you on things I've done with youth here. So I've been involved for a long time with CREM, which is the Ajijic Music School. And it's a beautiful, beautiful program because it has a very solid music program. So the staff that teaches has been trained, and they're actually professional musicians too, and have very good teaching skills. So there's a beautiful little orchestra. It's suffered from the pandemic, really. It used to be quite a big music school, and now it's become a lot smaller, but I think little by little we will start to build it up again. So what I love about this initiative is that it's not only really good music education, it's also a way of it's a really healthy activity for young people, for children and teenagers. It gives them an opportunity to do much more than only learn music and learn to play an instrument. They're involved in ensembles, in orchestras, so also being with other young people who have a common interest. Just a really, really healthy, good activity for young people here. And CREM has a scholarship program. So our idea is that every child, every young person should have access to music education if they're interested. So we're always looking for support from people. You asked how people could help here locally. So we're always looking for scholarships, asking people, do you want to support a child in their music and education? That's a way to help. Another way to help is to, perhaps you have an instrument at home that you don't use anymore, or you want to donate an instrument. Volunteers, we're always looking for people who can teach a certain instrument, to want to help in some way, or help with fundraising, things like that.
Well, how can they get a hold of somebody, get a hold of you or someone else with the CREAM program? Say they do have some instruments, or they do want to teach, they're professional musicians, or there's someone that was a singer. You not only teach them how to probably play instruments, but also read the music.
Totally,
and
yes.
just music in general.
Yes, they have. They not only have the lessons in their instruments, but also music theory. They learn to read notes. So it's a very, very solid music education.
Do you have a music school or a building where they actually all go to, or where do you?
Well, these years it was at the auditorium, which is now the inauguration will be, I think, not tomorrow, but next Saturday.
They've done a lot of construction on it and everything.
It's now finally finished. So
okay.
CREM actually has an aula there in this building.
Okay, great. And that's on the lakeside, just down.
Yes, on the carretera in Ajijic.
You're out on the main road.
Yes, exactly, by La Floresta.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll be able to use that space again.
And they're having a grand opening, you mentioned, in a week or so?
Yes, on the 17th of December.
December,
yes,
okay.
On a Saturday.
And do you know what time of day it is?
I believe it's at 11 o'clock, yes.
Okay, so it's probably open to the public. So
I'm not sure about that, to tell you the
okay.
truth. Yes, I received an invitation because, well, that's what another of my activities I was involved in sort of a liaison person between government and the community here, so that we could have some input into the whole renovation of the auditorium, so that the government also had more insight into the needs of the
is
local
that Aurora
organizations.
Michelle? Do you know Aurora?
I know Aurora.
I know she's very involved in working
definitely.
hard.
She's an amazing person who's given so much to the community here. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned musicians. Are you a musician yourself?
No, I'm not.
Are you a singer?
No.
You just love to help children
Yes,
and people at all.
Yes, and I like culture and what culture does with regards to community development too. So not only music as an art, which is a beautiful thing, but also what it does for civil society, for the community.
They always say music's a universal language.
Yes.
That everybody is involved in music. It can make everybody happy when they hear a song or great memories. So
Definitely.
Thank you very much for doing that. And you're also involved Well, let me back up. Is there anything else more about Cream you want to say? If the listening audience, if you're one of the expats, you have a musician background and you want to help, they can always use volunteers. Also, if you have instruments that you want to donate, and you're talking about all types of instruments like string instruments, brass instruments,
yes, mostly
guitars.
String instruments but also yes, all sorts
Just
of
anything at
instruments,
all.
really. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and another important way of supporting this initiative is going to the concerts. So
And how can they find out about that? Is there a web page we can go to?
There's a Facebook page of CREM. CREM actually means Centro Regional de Estudios Musicales. So
that's CREM.
yes, CREM. So there's an Instagram page, a Facebook page, and just Googling you can basically find
CREM,
us.
Ahihi,
Yes.
and something will come up.
Yes, probably CREM, Ajijic, music, música.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's fabulous. Well, please go to that website, and if you're interested in helping in any way, please contact Margarita, and she'll be able to get back in touch with you and kind of direct you on how to go. Now, you mentioned you spent some time in Spain.
Yes.
Where did you live in Spain?
In Barcelona.
Okay, it's a beautiful
Yes.
city.
Yes, definitely.
My wife has one of her PhDs from the University of Oviedo,
Oh, okay.
which is in far north central Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Spain. It's a beautiful country. And Barcelona, I think, I prefer it over Madrid. And
Okay.
it's just a beautiful country.
Mm-hmm.
And that is is that where you got your degrees, or did you get those in Colombia? Or
No, I did
Studied?
university in the Netherlands.
Oh, the Netherlands?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, the other program you're involved in, IKI?
That's right.
Okay.
Yes, IKI, but we say Iki.
Iki?
And actually, Iki comes from the Japanese term Ikigai, which the meaning of that is the reason for being. And the idea behind Ikigai is, and we apply this to the program it's a youth, actually Iki is a youth mentoring program, and we called it Ikigai because Ikigai is sort of the overlap of what you're passionate about, what your strengths are, what you can do for a living, and also what the world needs, which I think is just a beautiful aspect of
I
the
think I
whole-
wish I had known about Ikigai when I was younger. I need to know about it now because I'm still kind of stumbling around.
Well, you can become involved. Actually, we have mentors in the program. So, we have teenagers from high school age, basically. And we also, we look for teenagers in the community all along Lakeside to see if they're interested in participating in the program, but we also look for mentors. So adults here in the community, although the only thing we do ask of them is that they speak Spanish, because many of these young people don't speak English. So, and the mentors actually say to us, I wish we had known about this we would have had something like this when we were young. But the beautiful thing is that we have lots of activities and games and dynamics, and so the mentors do the activities as well as the teenagers, and so the mentors are also actually learning a lot and setting goals and making an action plan to actually achieve these goals. So yeah, it's a beautiful program where we all learn from each other.
Now, the age you mentioned, youth, but you've mentioned teenagers, so you like to start them off not 5 or 6 or 7, but more like 12, 14, 16.
Actually, a little older. So yeah, 6. We have a few 14-year-olds and 14, 15, 16, basically until they
Young
finish high
adults.
school. Yeah. Yes. Not quite. Yeah. Some are young adults, I would say. We have a few 19-year-olds.
And as I mentioned about CREM, is there also a physical building that you all have that you do these activities at?
We've had so much support from the community. It's really beautiful. I always say it takes a village to raise a child. So this is we're all volunteers at Iki. But we're looking for people who support. So one of the ways of supporting is actually offering a place to do it. And for years, because this program has existed for 4 years, we've been at Lake Chapala Real Estate in Constitucion in the center of Ajijic.
Okay.
And so they have an upper floor, and we've been able to use this big place to do our workshops, because we need a lot of room, because we play with them, we do games. So all the topics that we talk about, we're not just standing there giving a lecture about it. You know, we do a lot of activities, so we need space, and we've been able to use that place, and it has been really wonderful. Because
well, thank you very much to them for reaching out and offering the facilities. We appreciate people that help out and sponsor any type of organization or charity that benefits, as you say, the whole village.
So we're very grateful for them. And as of January, we're allowed to use Lake Chapala Society.
Okay,
so they've
great.
offered, which is also an amazing, beautiful place with lots of trees. So, you know, very, very inspiring.
I'm very
place
familiar
to
with Lake
work
Chapala
at.
Society. Matter of fact, I've interviewed Steve Balford, who's the president, on my show, and also Louise, who's, I guess, the general rector of it. And we're over there quite a bit as volunteers. They do such unbelievable programs over there for children and for adults.
Definitely.
So that's fabulous.
Yes, they have many interesting outreach programs too. Yes, so
I mentioned earlier that I had a good friend that kind of runs an orphanage for boys over in Agua El Candidos, Hope House. And you mentioned that you work with some of those type of organizations also.
Yes,
to help.
yes, we always look for people. We look for teenagers, and we talk about the project at different institutions. So, for instance, at the Prepa, the high school, the UDG high school in Chapala, we always ask them, do you have teens that are motivated, that would like to participate in this program? We ask the local chess club, the athletics club, the orphanages too. Actually, we have about 10 teenagers from Villa de los Niños. I don't know if you've heard about this place, all the way in Jocotepec. So in this is a place run by nuns, and they have about 2,000 boys there from all over the country, from Veracruz, from Guerrero, Estado de Mexico, Chiapas. So yeah, it's amazing.
I haven't heard as much about them as I need to. It sounds like I need to get them on the program and let them talk about what all they do.
Definitely, yeah, yes, it's an interesting program too, and so they participate. So we're always looking for people, and probably what we select them on most is whether they're motivated. They want to make a change in their life, because it's basically a life skills program. And then they set goals and have the mentors accompany them, support them, so that they can actually carry out and achieve their goals. So that's basically the idea of the program.
How often do you meet? Is it once a week, once a month?
Once a week on Saturday morning.
Saturday
from
mornings.
9 till 12.
Okay.
And you mentioned about how people can become involved in this. So we have different ways of supporting the program. One of them is actually the place, which we already mentioned. But every Saturday, somebody offers a breakfast, like a lunch breakfast, sandwiches or something, because it's from 9 to 12. And some of these kids come all the way from San Pedro Itzican, so they leave their community, even it's not that far away for us, perhaps, if we have a vehicle. They get up at 5 in the morning so that they can be with us at 9 in the morning. So yeah, we have somebody comes with a whole big tray of sandwiches, so you can help in that way.
So that's shout out to all the restaurant owners. I've had several of them on the show, and they've been very, very helpful in a lot of different ways. A good friend of mine that runs and owns Viva Mexico is very, very helpful to the community in a lot of different ways.
In San Juan Cosala.
San Juan Cosala,
yes,
you know the restaurant. It's a great restaurant, but he does such fabulous work for the community.
Yes.
We get him involved. There's a lot of restaurant owners that are listening, and that'd be a great opportunity for you to give back to the community.
Definitely.
So on Saturday mornings, they just need to contact you and kind of pick what Saturday they're going to bring, whatever. How many children are we talking about?
Well, we have 24 this year in the program, but then we have 12 mentors too. So basically, and with
about
the
40
team,
people.
Our team is we have a team of 4 people here, and so we're just all friends who work on this, and we, you know, when we see somebody who has that interest and who's more or less organized and passionate about this, we invite them on the team. So we're always happy to have more help. And actually we have somebody in Guadalajara who helps us make the presentations. He's Luis Alcántar. Luis helps us to plan the sessions. And Juan Carlos Rodriguez, he was the person who had the vision of this program, who said we should do something here at Lakeside with youth. But he's moved, he used to live here, and now he moved to Dallas, but he's also totally involved from a distance. So.
Well, he'll probably be back soon. If you move from here to Dallas and you get a little taste of the Metroplex up there, it's hot in the summer, it's cold in the winter, it's crowded. I mean, 12 million people up in the Metroplex area. He'll be back.
Hopefully, it would be nice
quickly.
for us to have him back. And so that's a way of helping. And also, you know, we try just to do this with as little money as possible. We like people to help in kind, really. But we do need a few funds every year. So if somebody is willing to donate, we'd be very happy, because one of the things we do at the end of the program is take the kids to Tapalpa for a weekend. And then we also have all sorts of activities for them. We cook together, the mentors come along, and many of these kids never go on a holiday. So it's so exciting for them. They really love it. Yeah.
And this program or organization has been going around 4 years now?
4 years, yes.
And I'm sure you have some graduates, some young adults now that have gotten out of the program. Do any of them come back and help mentor, or come back and say thank you and teach the young ones or the now students what's going on?
You guessed completely right. Yes, that's the whole idea. So we involve the graduates. We actually call them graduados, graduates from the program, and so they come and also facilitate some parts of the workshops. So we ask them who wants to help us out on this Saturday, and they come and actually give the workshop. And so my dream, my vision for the future is that we can just sit back and relax and have these young adults actually implement the program. And we'd also love, and that's our idea, and we're working on that, is how we can open these programs in different places, perhaps in different countries, in different communities. So we're actually working on a manual so that people we can train people to do this in other places.
How about Rotary International? Have you been involved with them in any way?
I'm very acquainted with them, but no, we haven't actually talked to them about this program. Yes.
Because I know Rotary brings students from all over the world. When I was in Puerto Vallarta for 5 years, the Rotary International that I was involved with there has exchange students, and they bring over for a year. And most of them are last couple years of high school or first couple years of college. So that would fit great into the program age-wise. And then they'd bring a different culture. Kind of like you bring your Norway, Scandinavian type culture. You teach them things that you grew up and know, and these other children from around the world might be able to benefit also. And Rotary's always looking for somewhere to help and donate, and so we can maybe put some things like that together. And as you may know, the University of Guadalajara is now opening a campus here in Chapala.
Yes.
So we'll have more professors, more teachers, more students over here, and maybe some of them can be involved, because as a lot of people may not know, but universities here, all the students, they're very, very inexpensive, but the students have to do community projects and community work to pay back their education. It's called community service, and there's a coordinator that helps all the students find somewhere to do jobs. And it's kind of like volunteer work, but it's helping pay back their university cost. And so possibly we could get the university involved there. But
Yes.
honestly, if you're an expat, you're down here, you're looking for a really, really great program to be involved with, I can't think one that's more interesting, more beneficial to yourself, but also to the young adults that you're going to be working with. And it's a win-win situation.
I love how you say that. It definitely is. I mean, we go on Saturday to these workshops, thinking of giving something to these teenagers or to the community. In a way, also, I think it's very important to reconstruct the social fabric of our community. So how can we make more connections and relationships between different actors in our community? So I think that's really important. But so you go on Saturday to thinking you're going to give something, and you receive so much. I mean, it's just beautiful. I'm very passionate about this program. I think I've learned so much from these young people. We all learn from each other, so it's win-win, as you say.
Well, Margarita, what you said about what I said, I agree with on the opposite side. I think y'all are doing an unbelievable service for the community, and I really think the path for the future is having the graduates come back and help and show what they learned over the years they were involved, and how it helped them and is still helping them in their day-to-day life, and how they can give back to the younger children or the new students, the new members of the organization. So I think it's just fabulous, and I really appreciate the time and dedication and effort that you're putting in, because I'm sure it'll pay great rewards in the future. I really do.
Thank you so much. I'd like to mention that it's a whole team. I mean, it's not just me. We have here locally, as I mentioned, Julieta, Toño, Alba, they're all Mexicans too, who are on the team, and in Dallas, Juan Carlos, and in Guadalajara, Luiso. And we're always happy to have new people on the team who would like to contribute in some way. So, yes.
Well, we covered a lot of things with cream and with Iki. I don't know why I can't remember that. Iki. Is there anything else? You mentioned you had several children. Have they been involved in this program? I don't know what age they are. Probably younger.
Oh, actually my son, my youngest son is. He actually studied at CREM at the music school for about 9 years. He's at university now, so he was also a bit the reason that I got to know about this program, and I thought it was worth getting involved in. And he always accompanies me to Tapalpa with Iki kids. So yeah, I'm always telling my children, and they're always interested and sort of contributing in different ways. So yes.
Well, is there anything else I haven't mentioned about either program that you'd like to say, or anything else about an organization? Or
just one little thing about Iki, which I think is important too, is that it also includes career choice coaching. So we help them. We have tests that they can do so that they have more clarity about what they could study. And it's not only university; it can also be a trade, for instance. And then we have, and this is a way that the community can support, is we have a professions and trades fair we organize. So after they've been tested, they let us know what they're interested in studying, the Ikis, we call them the Ikis, the teens, yeah.
Cool.
And then depending on what they let us know, we invite people who do those professions or who work in those trades. We invite them to the fair to talk about their work. And this is actually open to all young people, teenagers here at Lakeside. So even if you're not participating in the program, we think it's just such an amazing opportunity for them. All these people who have expertise, who have experience, sharing what they do. So.
And when do you do that? Is that once a week or once a month? Or?
No, that we do once every year. So,
every year?
Yes, and that will be in January.
Okay.
We actually have an Iki Facebook page too, so when there's
please give that information
like that,
out also if you would.
Yes, then search for Iki Chapala,
Just IKI,
Yes.
Chapala.
a Facebook page.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I need to check that out because I really wish when I was younger I would have had more guidance. I was right at the Vietnam age in the United States,
yes.
and we didn't know if we were, when we got our selective service number, if we were going to go to,
Yes.
serve in the military and be in Vietnam or not. So it was always kind of iffy. And me and my high school friends, we really didn't know what we were going to do.
Of course, that was quite a different reality.
Yeah, it's a
yes,
little different
yes.
when you don't know. The government's deciding what your future is going to be, but so
Yes.
many people that are at the age of mine, 68 up to the mid 70s, that was our reality at the time, back in the 60s and early 70s. So
Yes, that must have.
it's kind of
caused a
scary,
lot
but
of
I was
anxiety.
fortunate. My mother was and my father were both very insistent that I went to the university. I didn't want to go. I wanted to be more of a hands-on type laborer.
Yes.
And but I did go to university, and it ended up in the petroleum industry. So it helped me because I have more of a mechanical aptitude than I do book smart. And so I was very fortunate to have parents that pushed me to do that, me and my siblings. But there's a lot of children, especially around this area, that don't have the same guidance
Yeah.
that I was fortunate to have, and it sounds like that you had also.
Definitely, yes.
So-
yes. Well, that's what we try to do through IKI. What is their potential? Have them discover their potential and live up to it.
And one thing you mentioned is the testing. What type of testing do you do, and who does that for you?
Actually, we have a psychologist in Guadalajara who does that, and I'm also my profession is also coach. So I'm an executive coach, but I also trained as a youth coach. So in my private practice, I do a lot of coaching, and I have different tests that I can apply. So I can also do that. I'm trained to apply those tests.
I have a master's of psychology. I don't know if that ever helped in any way. I think I need to use it on myself more than anybody else. I had a good friend that was an auto mechanic. And when he went to the psychiatrist told him, instead of getting on the couch, to get under the couch. Always under cars. Terrible joke. Well, that's fabulous that you have so many people helping out and everything you've done. Honestly, Margarita, this has been one of the most interesting conversations I've had in a long time. I've learned a lot. I see a light at the end of the tunnel for me to maybe help you and the other children at IKI. And I'm not very musically talented. I do play drums, but it's
That's something.
it's something to just make a lot of noise. But I want to say thank you very much to you and the rest of the team on both Cream and IKI that do so much to help the lakeside area, the children, and it sounds like you're about as busy as you can be with the 2 or 3 different organizations that you're involved in.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you very much because there's a lot of unsung heroes like yourself that are doing so much for this area that need to be told thank you and recognized more than anything. And so thank you very much for everything you do. And please, if you're tuning in, if you're an expat, if you're involved in music or organizations like that, or you want to be a life mentor with some of these young kids, please contact Margarita and get involved and help out when you can. Again, I want to say thank you very much for taking your time.
Thank
It's
you.
an honor to meet
Thank you so much for inviting me, Michael.
You're very
It was
welcome.
a pleasure knowing you.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Thank you to everyone that tuned in to this episode of Expat Conversations with Michael Nolen. I want to say I appreciate you tuning in. As a lot of the YouTubers say, subscribe, ring the bell, do whatever you do. I don't say that hardly, but please tell your other friends and relatives to tune in, learn a little bit if they can, and if they have ideas for the show, contact me through the university webpage, which is behind me, and also just Expat Conversations with Michael Nolen at gmail.com. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next chapter. Have a great day.
Happy trail.